We're actually going live. Sorry about the delay.
Wow. What a way to kick it off. So we will call the meeting to order at 6:41. I see them before roll call, right?
Do the roll call, and
Okay.
then we'll do the motion to have the two trustees attend.
So I will go down the order. Gene? Here. Larry? Here. Nathan?
Here.
Steve? Here. Kathy? Here. Gerardo? Here. Myself? Rob? Here. Rebecca?
Yes, I'm here.
And Deborah?
Here.
Awesome. So now I'll make a motion to approve the request to see Deborah and Rebecca virtually. Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay. I can do all in
Just
favor.
go with it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstain? Okay. So joining us virtually, hello. And we have no public comment. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda with the following changes. Moving HR source discussion from new business to the reports. Okay, seconded. And I have to do a roll call on this one.
Before you do, there's two other changes.
Oh,
Under the governance committee, number 3 and 4,
okay, and we'll move
those
those
need to
to,
be moved from under the governance.
okay, so with the following changes of moving HR source discussion to before reports and the resolution and the Find More Illinois agreement to new business instead of under governance committee. Still seconded. Cool, and we'll call on this one, right?
Sure.
Okay, Gene,
Here, yes.
Larry,
Aye.
Nathan,
Aye.
Steve. Kathy. Gerardo. Rebecca.
Aye.
Deborah.
Aye.
Oh, aye, okay. The agenda is changed. And do we have a motion to approve the minutes from the meeting of February 16th, 2022?
So moved.
I'll second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstains? Okay. Next up, we have the discussion with HR source. Hello, Kathy and Mary.
Jackie in there.
Hi there.
Hi,
How are you?
good, how are you?
Good. Nice to meet you, Rob.
Good to meet you as well. So I figured that if you guys want to give like a quick explanation of what is
The library will be closing in 15 minutes.
a little bit about the process or whatever, and answer any questions that the board has.
Okay. Mary, you want me to do kind of the general overview? Okay. So my name's Jackie Troop. I'm the Director of Engage HR with HR Source. I was Rob's first contact when he reached out to me to ask about a proposal for your upcoming search. So Waukegan Library is a member of HR Source. We're a membership-based HR organization, and we help our members with many, many different things. But part of what my team does, which is the Engage HR, is we do a lot of recruiting for our members. And over the last 3 years, we've gotten into the library space quite a bit with executive director searches. We've done about, I think, 12 different searches. Mary was on the last one that we did. And so basically, I know you all have seen the proposal, and we have already done probably the first part of the process, which is called the launch call. So Mary and Kathy Peterson, who's not on the call tonight. They met with your search committee and kind of started the search, started launching the search, meaning finding out a lot of detail about exactly what you're looking for. What is the next executive director going to be like for your library? So now Mary is in the process of creating kind of a recruiting strategy, coming up with the job posting. So once we get that kicked off, we'll start receiving resumes. And Mary, who will be the lead on the search, will be going through those resumes, doing screening of some of the applicants, recommending to the search committee then some people that you might want to interview, and kind of moving through the process that way. So that's kind of a very quick overview. Rob, I know you said that there might be some questions. Like I said, I know you've all seen the proposal. So if there's anything specific, I think that Mary was prepared to talk a little bit about a tool that we use called an applicant tracking system. And I guess there was some questions from the search committee. So she was going to talk about that a little bit as well. Would you like us to,
that'd be great.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes, that'd be great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll jump right into the applicant tracking system. I developed a few slides that I'm gonna, I don't know if the host can enable my screen share and I can share with you guys, or if not, I can definitely email them if I can't share my screen.
Should be good to go. Try it now.
Okay. Here, let me just share the program. One moment, I just had it up and it disappeared. Let me just,
Technical difficulties.
I just had it up. I don't know where it went.
We don't know anything about those.
Okay. Okay, now let me know that.
What do you have it open in, Mary?
I'm just opening it up in.
If I can get
Okay.
it.
Okay. Okay, let's try this one more time. Oh, can you see this okay?
Don't see it. Don't see a share.
All right, let me try one more time. There. Do you see it now?
Yep.
Yep, now we see it.
Okay. So, okay. So with this applicant tracking system, this is the first page you will see. We will use the Waukegan Public Library logo. So it shows the branding of the library, and it will just give a brief, you know, the location, the title, and the date. And then it's a very quick 3 minutes or less application. And the reason why we want to make it user friendly, because we found in past experience, when people have a very robust, complicated application process, that in a lot of time it repeats resume, they get frustrated and don't apply. So we definitely want people applying. So it's a very easy, they just have to enter their name, their email, and then they're able to submit their resume and cover letter under 3 minutes, not a lot of fields to populate. So I will be the only one who has access to the applicant tracking system, but I'm more than happy to forward any resumes that the search committee would like to review. But it's a pretty simplified tool. It just has the name, and then we're able to make some notes about the candidates, as well as mark, hired, where we're in the process. So if I'm reviewing the resume, or if they're not a fit at all, like they don't, sometimes we get people with, zero relevant experience, we can quickly move them to unqualified so that, I help filter and only send people I believe that are qualified for you guys to review. Typically in the first bit, I can, forward resumes I think that are a fit, and then you guys give me feedback, or I can continue that process the whole time, or, some members say, you know what, Mary, we trust you, please just go ahead and phone screen. So I'm happy to do either. So, then if you see here that it's a blue hyperlink, so you can click on the applicant's name, and then it populates their profile, and then it's you can download their resume as well as their cover letter. And it also says the source they applied for. So this is always very helpful if we're not seeing as many applicants as we want. We can pull reports to show, like, okay, this one website, LinkedIn, for instance, like we're not getting any applicants. So like we wouldn't invest in that tool again. We would, research other tools and to be able to best, where we're getting the most candidates, to make sure that we're getting the most candidates applying to the role. So, and again, in this next screenshot, I'm able to, it definitely has a lot of different, what we call disposition codes. So I'm able to say, if let's just say they don't have the Master of Library in Science, I'm quickly to say, doesn't meet education requirements, and then the search committee doesn't even see that candidate. But, or, sometimes, for instance, not really in the library profession, but some of my other roles, people apply, and then when you try to contact them, they never respond to phone interviews. So it's a place to disposition that. So it's definitely this is a tool that's very important, so that we're able to track people. If we ever get audited, or if someone claims that they applied and they weren't considered, it's a very strong tool to understand, like, okay, yes, you did apply, but the reason why you didn't interview was because you didn't meet the education requirements. So it's a good way to keep track of data in case any questions arise of why a candidate wasn't considered. And that's about it. So I guess in terms of the search committee, this is a way for candidates to quickly apply. It's a way for me to organize the candidates so that I'm quickly able to say, we've had 15 people apply, only 5 were qualified. And then if I believe they're qualified, I will send the resume to the search committee via email. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. That's the library closing. Okay, that's how I'm talking. So yep, that's so most of our members do use this applicant tracking system. So we just wanted to give everyone a little bit of visibility. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them at this time.
Does anyone have any questions?
I don't for them, but I do for us, so about the same topics.
Okay.
Whenever you want.
Okay.
Mary?
Any other questions for our friends at HR Source about the AppleTrack system or anything else? No?
Great.
Okay, that was easy, I guess.
Yeah, thank you. We look forward to the search. And Rob, you guys, anybody ever wants to contact me, obviously I'll be in touch with Mary. We'll be working hard on the search, but hopefully we will wrap this up for you quickly.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
All right,
Thanks,
thank
guys.
you.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye. John, are we able to get it so we can see like Deborah and
Yeah, can you maximize the screen?
just so I could see if they're asking questions?
The only way we can see that is if
Yeah.
they're
Oh, there they are. Huzzah.
if they're speaking.
Okay. Up next, we have reports, so would be acting executive director's report.
Sir, or my email. So thank you everyone for being here. It's good to see everyone in person again in meeting room A and B. As always, please reach out if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. As far as the operations, National Library Week, if I could hold this up for all of our viewers online to see, National Library Week is April 3rd through the 9th. And so we're all celebrating here at the library. Please visit your library that week. Come say hello to staff. And also Anna, I wanted to announce that Anna has graciously accepted the opportunity to be our assistant director of Gail's departure. Anna's perfectly operationally sufficient. She knows a lot of stuff about how the library operates. And so she will handle the operations side while I will focus on the services side, which is what I did as assistant director. So it's pretty exciting, and congratulations, Anna. On finance, Anna, we'll start talking about how to divvy up the reports and so forth, but nothing out of the ordinary to report. As far as personnel, we are in search of a human resources manager. We recently hired a Horton O to work at the library as our reference librarian. So congratulations to Horton, welcome to the team. I will give a presentation this Saturday at the trustee retreat about our staffing structure. And as far as the maintenance side of things, we had to replace a few pumps, and Francisco is doing a good job settling into his role as our interim maintenance manager. We also promoted Alvaro to work as the maintenance coordinator in basically Francisco's old position. So now there's 2 people in charge of the department. We will be seeking some part-time custodial works for evenings and weekends. As far as IT, thanks to Isaac, we were able to meet today. And he's been working very hard on training for our library app, so that our staff can make reservations in the Communico, which is what we call it, Communico. It'll be our Waukegan Public Library app, soon to be launched by hopefully summer. And Isaac as well is preparing a lot of work for trainings and so forth. So admin, we're looking forward to an Earth Day shred event with Paper Tiger on April 22nd from 12 to 3. So if you have those boxes of tax papers, it's been 7 years, it's time to shred, you're welcome to bring them and there's no charge. All members of the community are welcome to attend. Speaking of the weekend of April 22nd, Earth Day, is the early bird sale for Friends of the Library. And then Saturday and Sunday, the Friends will have an open sale to the public from 10, or excuse me, I think it was 10 to 2 on Saturday and Sunday while we're open to the public. So that being said, I did want to share, if I could pull this up and maybe share it on our Zoom here. Bear with me one moment. I thank Jennifer Cordova for helping me put this together. Everybody see my screen all right? Make it a little bit bigger.
The library is now closed. Please
Not
exit
literally.
the building. La biblioteca ahora está cerrada. Por favor, salga del edificio.
So as far as I would handle the reporting on the operations, a lot of things have been happening in the upper left-hand corner. You see a bunch of boxes. That's the Bradbury collection almost completed. There was only about a dozen boxes left to transfer into new bankers boxes with lined with acid-free paper. Below that photograph is a photograph of a bunch of donation materials. When we withdraw materials, the Friends aren't selling them as much as they used to. So we are now making distribution points throughout the community to hospitals and mental health institutions, etc. Anybody who wants them can have them. We were trying to distribute these into the community. Also, I wanted to point out that Francisco down below there, if I scroll a little bit more, John, Francisco, sorry about that. So Francisco, come on, I'll not make it so close to the bottom. And the bottom left is Francisco building little free libraries. We are going to partner with the Parks Department and putting 10 little free libraries into the city of Waukegan to various different wards. He's built them and they're almost 10 completed. You see the ones next to him on the right there. They're white with gray roofs. So put logos on them and then they will be a hitching post at which we can provide service out into the community. Thanks to the Parks Department for offering us the ability to put 10 of these out into the community. In the middle of the screen is Isaac, our IT guy. He's preparing our little green room. In the preschool room is where they did programming for preschoolers. So we've also converted into a live video streaming space. So it's got a green wall and some nice equipment to make video. The upper right-hand corner is some of the changes to our children's department. We've shifted shelves so that they're angled now instead of straight, and it gives line of sight to study rooms as well as a new refreshed look to the children's department. Below that is a photograph of the new computer tables that are in our children's department. So 4 per, it's a few fewer computers than we had in there, but it's refreshed and it makes the space look a bit more open. And again, kids come and they game together now. That's what they use the library for. And so we were trying to accommodate that facet. Now I will skip to the next page. Gail used to speak of things like services. So in the upper, what happened? Okay. Okay. Cancel there. So there, thank you so much, Anna. In the upper left-hand corner is Miss Sandy, retired library staff member after 49 years working at the library. In terms of Women's History Month, we've had guest speakers for Black History Month and Women's History Month. So Miss Sandy read some stories, and we have some spring break activities going on for the school system, and one of which is Spy Week. So there will be lots of fun activities. We have now been promoting Spanish language programming in Spanish, so that way people who see flyers don't come thinking they're going to go to a program that's in their native tongue and find out it's in English instead. So next to that is our care coach. Sorry about this, Anna. The care coach is still visiting the library once a month for health screenings. They park out in front of our Ray Bradbury sculpture. Hina Matsuri Origami is a program that's happening this month, as well as Women's History Month programming all throughout the month of March. And last but certainly not least, we have lots of upcoming community and outreach events. That would be, so I think there's a lag, that's why I think I would do that. Waukegan Park District and we're going to be participating in the Extravaganza Trail on April 16th. We participated in Waukegan Public Schools Women's Symposium on March 12th. We'll be participating in a health fair on April 2nd. And last but certainly not least, in an Aetna Health Community event on March 8th, we participated in. So I shared this with my director's report, and I hope that you have a chance to read through it. And if you have any questions, please do reach out. I'm available at your disposal to answer any questions you might have. I respectfully submit. Thank you very much. Yes, Jim.
I'm probably missed it. What's going in the little library?
So
Books that you're giving away?
yeah, the books we've been giving away, they were also our old withdrawals. So any books that are no longer useful to the library will, instead of going to a dumpster or be recycled, they will be put into little free libraries all throughout the community.
So, the follow-up, so are they're just sort of little structures that persons can just come and put in them and then just take a book?
Yep, take a book, leave a book, whatever they'd like, yep. And we will monitor them monthly, so we will become stewards. The Little Free Library is actually an organization that allows you to become the steward, and so we will be the stewards for all 10 of these, and then and they will be on a map, so there's a way to find all the Little Free Libraries in Waukegan. And a great way to distribute gently used materials to the community, to find further life.
So will these little libraries be located typically in parks? Public parks?
Yes, more details to come, but there's
Oh.
10 parks, including, oh gosh, I couldn't tell you off the top of the Drosian and Victory Garden over by Vista, and so lots of, we tried to get them about 5 of the 9 wards. We'd like to have one in each of the 9 wards, but we'll get there. We just gotta plant the seed.
Oh, okay. It's really pretty fascinating, actually. Wow.
Great way to get rid of old used books.
Yeah. Hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Well, Larry, you're up next with the Finance Committee report.
Very good. All right. Very good. Well, our finance committee met earlier this evening and reviewed with Anna, which means this time around was still our business manager for this meeting. And first of all, we did have a forum. We reviewed the summary of actual versus budgeted results for the 10 months ending February 28th, 2022. And we should all have a copy of this document in your packet. We reviewed it. Everything appeared to be appropriate for this point in time in our library budget. Anything, Anna, that you might think to add to that overall summary?
No, we are in line with our projection. It's we only have 2 months left of this fiscal year,
Mhm.
but everything's okay. I would like to point out that in supplies, we have a bigger increase, more than usual from last month, because we bought a lot of collection management supplies. And there were 1,000 DVD cases, about 20,000 tags, and you will see that in the check register. Besides that, nothing out of the ordinary. It's also a short month, February.
Thank you. All right, then our next agenda item we looked at, we reviewed the monthly board check detail for the month of February 2022. There are 12 pages we reviewed very completely. Everything appeared to be in order. We did approve our committee did approve forwarding it out to the board for your approval. Any questions about the monthly check detail for February 2022?
I do. On the last page, what was the African American Museum? They came here.
That is for Sophia. She came and she did a story reading and a program for so.
Any other questions? Comments? Very good. So with that in mind, is there a motion to approve the monthly board check detail for February 22 for the Waukegan Public Library?
So moved.
Very good. Second, very good. Okay. And this requires a roll call.
Would you like me to do it?
Pardon?
Would you like me to do the roll call?
Yeah, would you please,
That'd be great.
Mr. Chairman? Yes.
Okay. And it does look like we lost Rebecca. John.
She's just off the screen. She's
Oh,
still
there
here.
she is. Okay, cool. It just didn't show her box anymore, so I didn't know where.
Oh, yeah. No, I am here. I just sometimes I flip off.
Yeah, that's fine. I just didn't.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Moving on. Jean, for the approval of the monthly check detail. Nathan?
Aye.
Steve? Aye. Kathy?
Aye.
Gerardo? Aye. Rebecca?
Aye.
Deborah? Larry?
Aye.
Myself? Aye. So that passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Larry.
Mhm.
And next we have a governance committee report with Jean.
The government committee met last week. I'm so confused what day it is. And we went over 2 policies. One was confidentiality and privacy policy. Most of what we did to that was change the numbering so that all the policies were uniform. There were very minor changes.
I'm sharing screens side by side there, although they're a little hard to see. But we had worked on making sure that these were streamlined with our look. So everything in the upper left-hand corner is title, policy number, effective date. So formatting was one piece. The other piece is basically an exact transference of the confidentiality policy one to the other. So it's basically purpose is the purpose, the objective is the second part, and procedures as well as disposal of record became a 4th item. Either basically word for word transcribed. Not a lot of changes to that policy. Now you could probably do, Carl, would it be, can we do both or do we have to do each one separately?
You can do it either way.
Okay, I'll pull up the ethics policy for you.
Move on to the next. Again, on the ethics policy, pretty much the same. We did very little changing. It was just to make it uniform. We did change number 9. To take off.
Here's the new number 9. ALA in June of 2021 passed the 9th Code of Ethic that includes inherent dignity and rights of every person, working to recognize and dismantle systemic individual biases, to confront inequity and oppression, enhance diversity and inclusion, and advance racial and social justice in our libraries, communities, profession, and associations through awareness, advocacy, education, collaboration, services, and allocation of resources and spaces. You will note that our old 9th had something to do with, as an agent of the library, we agree not to use our official position to benefit from personal gain. That's, all that stuff is illegal. And that should not probably be in the policy, that we won't break the law. So we removed that piece and added the new 9th ethic. Because anybody breaks the law, it doesn't matter if it says it in the policy or not, it shouldn't be broken.
And both of these were changed to reflect the new trustee information on the last page. But other than that, basically they were kept the same. And I get a motion to accept changes.
I so move.
I'll second.
You like me to do roll call?
Oh, please.
Okay. Larry,
Aye.
Nathan,
Aye.
Steve,
Right?
Kathy,
Aye.
Gerardo,
Aye.
Rebecca,
Aye.
Deborah,
Aye.
Jean,
Yes.
and myself, aye. It passes. Thank you, everyone.
Who?
Chip. I said, thank you, everyone. But thank you, especially you, Jean. Chipping away at our policy mountain. Okay, up next, we have our new business. I did not forget. So Stephen, are you had a question about the HR?
Yeah, so where, since I knew, where could I find the proposal in the job description? Is that out on a portal somewhere, or where could I find that?
Yes, we have that. And I can make sure to get that to you.
Okay. Thanks.
I'll write that in my notes. You said the job description
And their proposal.
okay.
Thank you.
Okay, up next, we have resolution 2022-01 for the representative for co-op 90s board. John, I know I probably mangled that, but
I'm going to go to Susan, I'm going to defer because she knows more details. I believe that we have to do this as a procedural. It's nothing super official, although we attend the meetings.
It's procedural and they need to have that document that this has been passed. Our suggestion was to have it, we can either do titles or people. We decided to do titles, so it would be the executive director would be the first person, and we just put HR representative for the second, which makes more sense. Right now, John and I trade going to the co-op meetings. The next one we have coming up will be setting our rates.
okay.
So, you know, just the both of us are covered under that.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve resolution number 2022-01, appointing representative and alternate to the co-op 90s board?
So move.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any other further discussion or questions for Susan? Okay. Roll call. Jean,
Yes.
Larry,
Aye.
Nathan,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Kathy,
Aye.
Gerardo,
Aye.
Rebecca,
Aye.
Deborah.
Can you hear me? I said aye.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And myself, aye. The anticipation. Okay, so that passes. Next, we have joining the Find More Illinois agreement.
Should be the last page of your packet, folks. We belong to a co-op called LinkedIn, which is the way we get books that we don't have here at the library. It's relatively salty, but it is a worthwhile expenditure. I wanted to try and add an additional. Rails now gives us the ability to join us for quite a price. It was about $3,500 when we first considered it per year. They're waiving that fee for the first year and all other fees for startup, which we would have had to pay. If I could share my screen, I suppose I could make it clear. We would have had to pay a pretty penny to get signed on, including $7,000 components for connectivity and one-time implementation fees. All those are waived. And we would pay no annual fees until July 1, 2023, and it's only $2,500 a year as opposed to roughly $36,000 we pay for Lincoln. So it's going to include tons of academic institutions and other public libraries, and Rails is really pushing this hard to get more public libraries involved in Find More Illinois. So another opportunity to circulate more materials and get more materials for our patrons at quite a great price, if you ask me.
So, sorry, do we need to make a motion first?
Yeah.
I have questions, sorry.
Do we have a motion to approve the Find More Illinois agreement?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, do we have a second? Okay. Roll call. Gene? Oh, now we do, yeah. I thought we had to do the, yeah, no, I know I wrote it down, but
Sorry, it's interlibrary loans, so I get excited.
Yes.
So the Find More Illinois, can you, because I know Lincoln, is that more regional and this would be more statewide, or what will, can you explain a little bit?
Correct. So
about-
Rails would still be the flow through, go through their libraries all the way Southern Illinois, all the way up to here. And primarily Lincoln libraries are libraries that are on innovative products like Sierra, like we are. And so there are other consortia. Some libraries belong to OCLC, which is Ward Newport. Some belong to SWAN, which is, I think Zion belongs to SWAN. So there are a lot of different consortiums, all consortia, all of them have a cost, and this one is a pretty affordable one compared to what we're paying for Lincoln. So we can add more access and more materials to our patrons is the goal.
Thank you.
Ms. Larry?
So then, John, we're replacing the LinkedIn then with this one, is that?
So we are going to run them concurrent. So we'll have both. And then if at some point we decide we want to go away from the cost of having a $36,000 Lincoln, then we can decide later down the road. But for now, we'll run them concurrently.
Yes, Gene?
What was the reason behind selecting this one versus the other ones that you talked about other libraries have?
Originally, we were talking about adding this. A lot of other Rails libraries are adding this second resource to them, rather than other ones that are part of other systems. There's all kinds of operability questions, like we'd have to have a different cataloging system possibly, and that makes it more complicated. There are ways to make it work, but you have to pay a pretty penny to make it work when you're not native, when you're not speaking their language, so to speak. And so it makes it's definitely going to be easier and more resources to our patrons, and more resources that we can share with our greater library community. Increase our circulation. It's a win-win.
Any further questions? And now we'll actually move to a vote. Gene?
Yes.
Larry?
Aye.
Nathan?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
Gerardo?
Aye.
Rebecca?
Aye.
Deborah?
Aye.
Myself? Aye. That passes. We are approving the Find More Illinois agreement. Okay, and that concludes our new business. Yeah.
Nominated.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I moved all these arrows around. I'm doing terrible today. Okay, so with Brian leaving and now having Steve join us, we need a new secretary. I think Steve should take it.
Welcome.
Did she say Dean Steve should take it? I agree.
Be a volunteer.
Well, I know in the past we did have the nominations and then waited till the next month to vote on them. There isn't anyone that is strongly considering becoming our secretary. That would be, wouldn't mind not having to wait a whole month to get that process going.
If we did nominations tonight, we have to wait till the next meeting. I
We don't
nominate Steve.
have to, it's just what we did last time.
I nominate Steve.
I second it.
Let's hear what Steve has to say.
Happy to help if somebody guides me through what I need.
Okay,
A lot of the secretary's job is to execute documents of testing. Usually the president signs with the secretary, also attesting to the signature. Officially, you are the record keeper. And what that typically means is you review the minutes, because you're also responsible for keeping the minutes. I forget who prepares them. So we would share them with you, make sure that you agree with how they are written up. And then once you have blessed them as the secretary, then they would be distributed to the board for review. I don't know if that's how you've been doing it, but that's my recommended process. Other than that, it's essentially the same role as every other trustee. So you just now have a big title.
And we'll put it on your business card too.
Assuming
As long
nobody
as
else-
somebody else is taking them and all they're doing is looking. Yeah.
We are striving to send out the board packet a full week prior to the meeting, so you will get that early, and if you see a discrepancy, you could just reach out to me. So it's just really, you're the only person who's reviewing.
Sure.
So you just have to read.
Okay. I can do that.
Okay.
One other thing, we often have the secretary review if you have closed session minutes that have not been released, and we haven't talked about that. Every 6 months, the board is responsible for reviewing any closed session minutes that have not been released to the public, and then determining whether there is still a need for confidentiality. And if you find there is, you can keep those minutes closed forever. I try to have my boards draft the closed session minutes in a manner that they can be approved and released at the next meeting. So you don't say Carl Addison was caught once again doing something inappropriate in the library. You just say we dealt with a patron issue and something like that, so that it's not specific enough that it's going to create any issues in the public and your personnel issues. You can have a general statement as opposed to, once again, Carl Addison was insubordinate, told the executive director what he could do, instead of following the direction of the executive director. You just say, we discussed a personnel issue, or the executive director updated the board with respect to the personnel issue. So that it's much easier than to review, approve, and then let them be available for the public. So I don't know where we are with the 6 months when they were last done, but I like to aim for like January, July, just so that it's on a regular schedule. We can talk about it.
is that something you would, I know you got kind of,
Sure, I'm happy to help. With good staff support. There you go.
Anybody else really wanting to jump in?
Yeah, so
Especially
I'll
seasoned
speak up once.
trustees who've been on the board, for a while now. Deborah, Rebecca, Nathan, Gerardo, Kathy. Okay, I see sideways looks.
But we did have a motion in a second, so.
True.
so I guess we can roll call vote. Gene?
Yeah.
Larry?
Aye.
Nathan?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
Gerardo? Aye. Rebecca?
Aye.
Deborah?
Aye.
Myself, aye. And Steve?
All right.
Okay.
Congratulations, Steve.
Welcome to the
Hey,
I was
that,
gonna be- I got a question.
yeah,
When was gonna be- I didn't even know who he was. We're taking the vote. He's in the vote and everything. Nobody's ever said we had a new member or anything.
yeah, that happened mine.
A week ago Monday, yes.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
And you had explained before the meeting, why we have the change. Brian moved out of
I
it.
wasn't here then.
I,
Okay,
yeah,
I
so,
wasn't here.
yeah,
All right.
Brian moved, so we needed to have a new trustee.
he's no longer eligible to serve. so. Yeah. Okay, well, that actually concludes new business. Unlike before. For the president's report, I know it's all mentioned before. All I had was really welcome, Steve, and you got welcomed in quite the way. Our spring retreat is this Saturday, from 11 to 2 p.m. here. Same place, same grade network.
I think we're gonna do it up in the boardroom.
Oh, the boardroom, just kidding, okay, in the boardroom. And,
There will be light lunch and beverages provided as well.
perfect. And then, just proposing our next meeting is April 20th. Put that in there. I don't know if we have to vote on that.
It's part of your regular schedule.
Yeah. Okay, trustee comments. I will go backwards. We'll get our virtual friends going, if that's cool. Deborah, would you like to go first with any comments?
Yes, I would. Welcome, Steve.
Thank you. Nice to see you virtually.
Nice to see you. See you on Saturday.
Thank you, Deborah. Rebecca?
I don't have anything to say, but I will plan on seeing everybody on Saturday, in person is my goal.
Hey, glad to hear it. Thank you. Gerardo?
Welcome, Steve, and we got more to do on Saturday. All right.
Kathy?
Congratulations to Anna. I think she's gonna be great in her new position. And, welcome, Steve.
Steve?
Hello, everyone. Glad to join you. We'll get together on minutes and notes, right? And so it's my pleasure to serve with all of you and looking forward to Saturday's routine. I guess good timing, right, for the retreat and coming in. So I'm just looking forward to learning more about the library and what goes on and how I can help. So.
Congrats, Anna, and welcome, Steve.
Larry?
Congratulations once again, Ann, to Horace here. It's very exciting, very happy for you, and welcome, Steve. Looking forward to working with you, and looking forward to our retreat here on Saturday to learn more about our library.
Gene?
Congratulations. Welcome. And what is your last name?
Bug, B-U-G-G.
I'm Jim Smith.
Awesome. Okay, so everybody, do we have a motion to adjourn? I did my presence.
Can I add a couple of comments before you? adjourn?
Yes,
First of all, thank you for the vote of confidence and asking our firm to continue on, and I plan to be the main person doing so on your behalf. I really do appreciate it. We probably should have a closed session or, well, no, this is an open session discussion. We have a bargaining session coming up. The union is ready to present their proposal to the board, and we need to know who the management team is going to be. Typically, you would want the executive director, unless the executive director had no interest in doing so, which then you would have just the assistant. Sometimes we do that, not necessarily just because the executive director doesn't want to. But sometimes I find that having the head person not at the table allows that person to be the one wearing a white hat behind the scenes and trying to work through things. But more times than not, we do have the head of the organization present at the table. And I think with the library, with the powers of the executive director with respect to personnel, that's even more appropriate. Unless the executive director wanted not to be there. We've had just a brief conversation. I think, Jonathan, you were suggesting be you, and then I forget who else from staff.
Karen, possibly Susan for HR, and that was the only staff, yourself, and then a board member. You talked about one or two.
Yeah, my recommendation is that you have no more than 2 trustees at the table. Most likely, the bargaining sessions will be done during the day. And I don't know how many of you then that would exclude. We can try to have sessions not during the day. There's always an issue of whether we allow the employees to bargain on work time. That's one of the ground rules that we can discuss. And if you're not going to allow that, then we have sessions outside of their work time. So if that's more convenient, with or without the concern for whether they're on duty while they're doing negotiations. If trustees want to be on the committee and you can only meet in the evening, then we will accommodate your schedules. We are going to have, I think, 5 on the union side, give or take 1. And so if we have 5 to 6 on your side of the table, that's a lot of calendars to be coordinated. And it's going to be, difficult to get meetings scheduled. So I will recommend that when we sit down, before we end the meeting, we schedule about 2 meetings out. So that, first of all, that we keep going. You'll find that deadlines I usually try to keep, but I failed on the Bradbury collection, which I'll get to next. So I guess, Rob, it's a question of who from the board wants to be on and what your availability is so we can work on schedules. The union has set aside, I believe, the 24th, which is next Thursday. That's right. As a possible date to have the initial meeting. The initial meeting is essentially the union presenting to the management team their proposed contract. And we take that document, and the next thing we do is we go over as a team, and then we put together a proposal that is the management's initial proposal. In a new contract like this, the second meeting would then be management going through and presenting its proposal, and it may have counter proposals and may include a good chunk of what the union has proposed. There's a lot of base language in our contracts that almost every contract has in them. And, if it's worded essentially the same as I would have in other contracts, I don't fight over location of a comma unless it is important to the meaning of a sentence. My approach is to get the contract without giving up management rights. We want to preserve as much as possible, but we do have now a third party in representing employees, and we will have to respect the right of them to do so. I've said this to others, Steve, but just so you hear it as well, I take direction. I'm a representative of you in your capacity as trustees. It's not my contract. What you pay and the benefits you provide your employees is entirely up to you. I can give you recommendations, suggestions on what is typical, what's not typical, strategically, what we might want to do. Those conversations we'll have in closed session. But who's on the bargaining team is an open session item. and just the general discussion about collective bargaining, we should do that in open. But from here on out, when we're talking about what's going on at the bargaining table, what's our strategy, what's our response, we will do that in closed session. You then give direction as a board to your team, and we professionally present that and work through the issues. When it comes down to the money items, you will definitely be involved to give direction. On the non-economic and the legal side, the team will probably just take care of that and bring it back to you for your blessing at some point. Questions on process before we get to the team?
And it's completely independent from the city.
Yes, sir.
Are these meetings virtual, in person?
We're expecting them to be in person.
Okay.
I don't have that 100% confirmed.
Would they be here?
Most likely they would be here, subject to meeting room availability. But this is where, you know, everybody except me is
Right.
close to.
Yeah.
So if the union wants, we could do them virtually. It's not the best way to do it, especially getting their proposal. But if we need to, we can.
Typically, how many meetings would you foresee? I know it's hard to say for sure, but generally speaking.
Larry, there is no good answer to that. I'm sorry. Especially on the initial contract, it depends on how reasonable each side is. And I'm not going to say how reasonable the employees are, because you all might be just, you know, the worst group of unreasonable individuals. And when it comes to collective bargaining, I said it might be. I did not say you are. I don't know you well enough yet, but you know, there is that possibility that we're at loggerheads and it takes a long time. That's not my approach. It's not my desire. But until we see their first proposal compared to what your current benefits are and procedures are, I can't really give you a decent flavor. But a few meetings in, I'll be able to give you a clue. But look at what the Major League MLB and the Players Association just went through. They didn't meet for the first 45 days of the lockout. Why? Because you usually don't get anything accomplished in that type of a setting. Same with the strike. You don't meet the next day. It takes a while for people to calm down, come to the table. Everything happened, you know, in the last 24 hours. Now they knew, both sides, approximately where it would end up. It just takes a certain amount of time before both sides say, okay, let's make a deal. And when it gets down to the main economic issues, pay, health insurance contributions, time off, okay? When it gets down to just those things, it's usually a package deal that might include some of the other non-economic items. And we've got a list. And we keep everything on that list, even though 80% of them we know, and we've agreed to them. And I'm sure that the baseball discussions happen the same way. You just go through it. Once you are down to a few items, we start, my approach is off the record. Well, we could do this if we, you know, you agree to this, we'll agree to this. And, you know, if they come in asking for 20% annually for the next 3 years in a wage increase, and we come in at 1%, that doesn't mean we're going to end up at 11.5. All right. I've got a police group that just proposed 8%, 8%, 8% for the third or fourth negotiation sessions that are involved. Okay. That representative remembers my reaction 3 or 4 contracts ago, my client's reaction at the table 3 or 4 contracts ago, and so they propose it again. And this time it's like, okay, when you get a real proposal, we will respond. And that was all we said and moved on. So we will get a flavor for it, Larry, and then I'll be able to give you a better handle on.
Just one more follow-up real quick. So typically, do these meetings happen once a week or once every 2 weeks or once a month?
With our schedules, it'll probably be every 3 to 4 weeks, would be my guess, with the number of people that we have. And typically, it takes a while to get direction and prepare the next counter proposal. The union reps may have to go back to a broader group of employees. They may not communicate at all with the broader group of employees throughout the process, which is quite common. I won't do that. Our team won't do that to this board. I believe, at least in the management side, it's your contract. You need to know what's going on. Now, it doesn't mean after each meeting, we're gonna have another meeting and talk about it. It's when your regular meetings come up, we'll have conversation about it, get direction, give you the update, get direction if we need it. And then we'll just go back to the bargaining table until we're done.
And who's represented by the agreement? What group of employees?
The union has asked me, and it is all the non-supervisory employees. Jonathan could probably give you a better handle on who's in it.
We have like 22 employees.
Which means how many
We have 48 total.
that
About that.
So I always wait till that first proposal comes in before I make any projections on how things are going. Things just have to get right before everybody says, okay, let's reach it. Every one of the negotiations is different. I will tell you this. Jonathan and crew, you're going to have to be somewhat vigilant to make sure that bargaining discussions are not interfering with operations. We do it at the bargaining table. Employees should not be out during the work day doing a lot of union activity. That is inappropriate. They need to be doing their work. There will be some conversations that go on, but you want to keep it to a minimum. That's not always going to be easy to do. There's going to be an emotional turmoil, is probably not the right word for it, but there will be heightened emotions among the employees during this process. It does create stress, especially in the bargaining team members, but they still have to do their jobs and they have to do it appropriately. They sometimes have to be reminded of that. Sometimes, especially in the first contract, the members take on the position that they now are equal and they have equal say in the direction and all the decisions within the operations. They get to have input, we work together, but there's a lot of things that are going to stay within management rights, and it's not an equal on every decision. So, but sometimes you get the leadership thinking that, the executive director can't do anything without the union president's approval. Hopefully that's not going to be the attitude. If it is, we will have a counseling and I will work through the union's attorney to try to get that to stop.
Were they not represented before?
Brand new.
Brand new.
So it's taken them a few months to put together their initial proposal, which is very common. The time is short for some, it's not out of the ordinary at all. So if you think that it's taken them way too long, no, in my experience, this is not an unusually long period of time. It's been since the certification, 3 months, maybe 4.
We got the FOIA request back in March of 2021 from ASPE.
Yeah, but that from the certification to bargaining.
Right.
Which happened several months after that, if I remember. So,
6 months after.
yeah, so we're probably, maybe it is 6 months to certification. I've had them take about 14 months before they give us a proposal. That's an unusual one. So this is not quick, but not that slow. Any other questions of general stuff before when somebody jumps up and says Steve has to be the management rep at the table?
So were they not represented, they were non-union before?
Correct.
So it's not replacing an existing.
Nope. So there's been no contract, and so this will be the very first contract ever negotiated. Now you want to find out who really wants to be on the bargaining team?
Anyone? No, I would like to, but if there's others,
I'd be interested in being on the bargaining team. My one concern is schedule. To be perfectly honest, because I have 3 young kids and about to kick off Little League season, so, yeah. So go Waukegan Fire. But we, so with that, that would be my only concern would be, I wouldn't want to hold up the process because of my schedule. But if you feel like that's something that could be worked around.
does it need to be a consistent same board members, or could they?
It does not have to be, all right, because we're not going to be having the 1 or 2 trustees approving board issues. We'll come back and ask the board what. And sometimes we schedule meetings and without 1 or 2 members, you know, if we have 6 people at the bargaining table, if one of the administrators or one of the trustees couldn't make it, we typically, with permission of, you know, of our team, say, okay, well, we can meet without that individual. So, any, you know, besides Rob, is there anything, anybody else?
Well, I'll volunteer to assist in that. I have experience in that area. So maybe me and Nathan can make a person.
Oh, I wish we had a cookbook.
Yeah, out of context quote.
What's your availability on the 24th?
We're talking in the daytime, right?
Well, we don't have to, but I think that's what the union.
The daytime is good for me. I do have a meeting that I have to facilitate on the 24th, the evening of. So about 5, I'm available till 5 p.m. on the 24th.
So you decide for sure how you want to work it as trustees, if you want to have people in and out, so it's not, you don't have to have, I wouldn't want to have 3 trustees at meetings, it gets a little cumbersome. But if you want to work among yourselves as to who attends, you know, are you available during the day? More so, less so, I don't know the schedule.
That's probably less so, yeah.
And you're more what time?
It depends on the time of the day, because I still teach, but I do still have time to use, so, I mean, mornings would be easiest for me, since I live right there, and I could just come over here, but, if that doesn't work.
Well, I know we're talking about Thursday, but what about Saturday? Because it seems, because one of the things that we're gonna have concerns, if it's 4 employees, what if they're gonna have to take vacation? How does that work? Because they're not supposed to do union business on library time. So how does that work?
If we agree to them being at the table, getting paid and not using leave, then they can be during their workday doing this activity.
How many hours are we talking?
But it depends on how many you want to do that with. Often we say 1 or 2 at most. And anybody else has to, you know, that's going to be there is going to have to use leave time, and they kind of rotate. But that also might reduce the size of their team as well. You know, that is a decision that I typically recommend we start off with the ground rule. You know, the first day everybody is there, but then we say for future meetings, I start with, we're not going to pay you to negotiate against the library board. And one of the main reasons for that, let's go back to the O.J. Simpson trial. The vast majority of the members on that jury were public employees getting paid. So if I'm on a bargaining team and I'm getting paid to be there, what's the incentive to get it done? I might find that more enjoyable than doing other work. They will find out soon that it's not that enjoyable, and it's, you know, it's not a fun job. Is everybody who's not at the table criticizes everything they do without knowing what the process is. So, you know, I understand the dynamics on both sides of the table. You have to do that to be effective in my role.
Yeah.
But, you know, if we have somewhat consistent management team with the trustees coming in and out, that won't be bad. So let me find out from the union's attorney what their proposed schedule is for the 24th. And between Deborah, Nathan, and Rob, what are your schedules for the 24th? And when might you be available?
So I think actually maybe it makes more sense. I can be an alternate maybe. And then that way, if you need someone to come in and fill in, I can do that. But it sounds like you and Deborah have both more flexible schedules than I do. And so that might be better. But if one of you isn't able to make it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works.
And so on the 24th, Deborah, you are not available in the evening. What time of day do you get up and about and would enjoy doing this kind of activity?
I would say anytime after 10 a.m.
Okay. And I should know this, but I don't. What's the library's hours?
10 to 7, Monday through Friday. 10 to 3, Saturday and Sunday.
So if we start 10:30, is that good for you, bad for you?
I could make it work. I mean, earlier would be better, but I understand you got to work with others, but.
We can do 7 to 10.
I mean, I'm already up. So.
I can do 9. I can do 9 a.m. if that works better for you, Rob. Start at 9.
If that works for the union as well.
Yeah, let me just find out and we'll communicate. Anything else? I know I said I had a couple of words I wanted to do. All right, we are going to meet again, the RBC committee. I think I suggested the 6th.
Correct.
And Jonathan's going to send me his notes from our last meeting. I was rushing to end that meeting and go to another meeting that was 20 minutes away, and about I had 19 minutes to get there. I closed down my computer. I lost. It did not save automatically. I just lost that copy of the document, and I had been making notes and making changes as we went through it. So I just need to get it back. We had a good meeting. We're not far off of most of the things, and it, you know, just so you know, I think one more meeting of that group, and we should have had it tonight, but we'll have it before your next meeting. I think we'll have a pretty good document back to you for the agreement for the loan, for a long-term loan to the Historical Society.
Good.
Yeah, it's been a good group working together. So that's all I had on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Now, do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I move to adjourn the meeting.
Second, Kathy and Gerardo, all in favor?
Aye.
All abstain. Okay, the meeting ends at 7:55.
7.
I know, how early is that?